Welcome to this month's showing off, and in this episode I am experiencing for real Glastonbury. I'm actually in the field. I'm not watching it on television, I'm surrounded by real people. Will it be like going to war, or will in the end it be like a great holiday surrounded by people I love and finding fantastic music and actually enjoying myself? I've got a few hours to go, not even midday yet. And already Rolf Harris is causing a kind of mass hysteria that suggests that something is in the air. And I guess that I'll either go along with it or I'll be seen fleeing for the gates within a matter of minutes. Now, I was given a lot of advice about how to prepare for Glastonbury and how to deal with it. What are things not to do? But one of the things no one warned me about was making my mind up at about 11:45 on the first day that Rolf Harris is the highlight of the festival. That everything I need from the festival musically, Rolf is giving me. It's horribly snobby in a way, you know, to reject the idea of real people and actually mixing with them. And it might be that, it might be just, I think Ali Jackson said it to me actually, she said, by coming, you suddenly realise that you're not the special one, that other people like all this music too. And there's a grain of truth in that. You don't want to face up to the horrible truth that hundreds of thousands of people like what you like, and you're not really that special. So I actually started to have a kind of music nerd overexcitement that I'm actually going to miss more than I can get to. And then on the other hand, I get cynical about it, and it's like a supermarket. It's a big supermarket, everything you can just pick and choose and put in your basket. And somehow this doesn't seem to be the kind of experience I want either. I was very much advised, indeed ordered by a lot of insiders, that I had to venture out to the perimeter. And I've started to do that now, and the first thing that you start to notice is circus acts. And you just seem to be busting out a little bit of civilization. You're busting out a little bit of some of the main channels. You're going down into the dark areas, the high numbers. And then when you turn around and you see what's going to happen over here, I started to realise another reason why I've always been a little bit anxious about coming to Glastonbury is that it seems like a rather epic episode of The Prisoner, and that we're all sort of trapped here. I suppose the modern day version is Lost, but actually it's a kind of island that we're all here. We don't quite know why we're here really. We're not quite sure what's going to happen. And that way, looking at it is definitely like I'm heading out into prisoner territory.
If you went back to the Bronze Age, this was like a sort of, this whole area was a massive kind of sort of university, if you like, of all the modern thinking, you know, in medicine, in mathematics, in philosophy, and it's retained that sort of, that energy. You know, and the pyramid, the pyramid stage. I don't actually know what the dimensions are, but I'd be interested to know whether they follow the true Egyptian dimensions of the ratio of 7 to 11. But everything about it is worth turning out for and doing a really good job, I think.
What's your feeling about Glastonbury, Jerry? What do you feel about the place?
I haven't been here since 1992, when I think I saw you play, when you busted your ankle.
Yeah.
It was the last time I was here. I was a punter. And to be honest with you, I didn't really enjoy it very much.
Why not?
Because there's too many people.
But half of me is beginning to understand what the point is of the festival, I think.
Oh, good.
You know,
Great.
a little bit.
Well, but you've got to see the size.
First time, yeah.
But you've got to see the size of it, I think, to sort of appreciate like how many different things. And there are people who have nothing to do, don't engage with this aspect of it at
Which
all.
I like a lot.
No, but that's what's special about it. It's not just about music.
It's the things at far ends you bump into.
This is kind of sort of the mainstream entertainment, if you fancy it.
This is the high street, you know.
Yeah, high street.
You're playing W.H. Smith.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dixon's.
Oh,
Dixon's.
Well. Millets.
Now it's 1:45 on a Friday. I must just remember that because I think I've had my first genuinely surreal experience where I was watching the incredible avant-garde show business of the Matthew Herbert Big Band. And usually I'd be at home, let's face it, I'd be watching the results of Bargain Hunt. David Dickinson just about now would be handing out £32 to the team in red. And I'd be wondering whether maybe I could muster up a few words. As it is, I've seen something that I would usually expect to see, sort of midnight in Manhattan in 2057. The only worry I've got now is that I'm peaking too early and I've made another mistake, a cardinal error. I'm getting carried away. I mean, what I find interesting about Glastonbury walking around is you get this real sense of all music that's ever happened, all happening at once. And that bands come in and they have to find a place to sort of fit themselves in. And
well, to me, it's like it's a giant party and they don't really need you. I mean, the fact that they're, you know, I think 6 months before it happens, people like the idea, oh, I get to see these bands. But once you get here, it's such a crazy party that the bands are really just such a small part of it. And really, to me, I love that part of it. You know, because I want to do a big show and I want it to be a big thing, but I love the fact that they're already having a great time. And if you just do the smallest little thing, or just acknowledge that, hey, it's great to be here at your party, you know, you're really part of their event instead of them being there to see you.
The audience seems to be the performers. You know?
Yeah, totally, I mean, they're already out there. You know, I mean, it's a lot of people.
Now, whenever I've seen you, you always seem to put on the kind of show that, to me, represents this kind of exuberance. Already,
it does.
That way. I've seen it at the Albert Hall. You're putting on this kind of show. It's a mad party.
It is. You know,
it is. So how can you lift yourself up to compete with this
well, I don't think at these you really even need to. I mean, I think just the fact that you go out there, really, it's that energy is what you want.
The 50 thing is interesting as well. These festivals have enabled those of us around that area of 50 to stay involved. You know, once upon a time we would have been wiped away, wouldn't we? The generation gap would have wiped it away. That thing's completely changed now, hasn't it?
Well, I think you didn't know if someone, you know, past the age of 40 would want to be here or want to do this. And I think that's what we're finding out, that we grew up with it. I mean, I always look to people like, even like a Miles Davis. If you love music, you're just doing music, and that really is kind of a timeless thing. I mean, Willie Nelson's playing today, and I still consider him very rock and roll. It's just, again, he seems like a man who says, I'm going to live my life the way I want to. You know, I'm not waiting for the laws and the rules or the trends to make me who I am. And I think anytime you run into that, or you see that in real life, whether that's a musician, an artist, or even a politician or whatever, when you see that in real life, it's powerful. And I think that's really what we're doing here.
It's been a long time since Rolf Harris, that's for sure. And I know I hit it really hard. I hit it too hard almost early on with Rolf and the euphoria that there was then. But in an odd sort of way, that early euphoria that sort of dissipated a little bit. I'm taking it seriously now, I'm analysing it now. Dissipated sort of a little bit. It was a little sort of indicator, a comic camp indicator of what actually does end up happening. And I've decided during the day that you could probably have the worst time of your life when you're here. And when you dip, you dip. But you can also have the most beautiful time of your life here as well. And what I've loved about it, it's made me realise, looking at it, that the actual star of the show, and I'm gonna get a little bit sentimental now. And maybe I started high and then I dipped and I've come high again. But the star of the show in a way is the audience. I mean, it's very interesting. Tom York's playing down there. And somehow as the audience gathered and the rumours spread around the city, if you like, that something was happening, and they all came in and they weren't sure who it was. It could have been the Strokes, could have been H from Steps, somebody said. This kind of strange energy started to develop, and when Tom York did appear, he wasn't really the star of the show in a funny sort of way. It was the audience and what the audience was willing to happen. And that was a very beautiful moment. And it was beautiful that Michael introduced him. And so I guess I'm ending on a high. It's been a long day and I've had a few moments. And sometimes it feels like I'm at some kind of weird Disneyland with no rides. And other times it just seems to be all you do is eat and drink and fall asleep and wake up in an odd position, have bits of sunburn. I have suffered. But I've also I've had a very beautiful time, and I guess that's the moment when people will look at me and say, "You've changed. But it's undeniable. You can be cynical about it, and I can still be cynical about it to an extent. You can be annoyed that you're 4 miles away and you want to go and see LaRue or something, and you're in the wrong position, you can't get there. And then I completely missed Willie Nelson, actually because I was working, which was bloody annoying. But at the end, the swingometer is very heavy on the fact that I will be staying a few more hours, maybe even more a day, and I'm starting planning next year. But don't tell anybody I said that.